Morning, everybody. I'm your host, Gio'vanna Thompson, and today we have a special guest, singer, songwriter, DJ, featured on BBC Merseyside, One Extra, and many other channels across the UK. We have no other than the beautiful Kyami. I hope you said
Hi,
that
okay.
right.
Yeah, it's Kyami, but it's all right. Everybody gets it wrong.
Kyami, okay, we're
Yes.
getting that right, get that right. Kyami. Okay, so I just want to really dive in with you because I've been doing a bit of research on your background and you have such an amazing, interesting story. It's not the stereotypical story of an artist breaking into the industry. So I'm really excited right now to just learn more about you and hear from yourself. So can you just let us know, for all the new fans that you might get and for everybody that's still hearing your music and tapping in, how did you get your start in the music industry? What's it been like for you?
Well, I moved to the UK in 2017, so almost 4 years ago now. So that seems like a long time. But yeah, I moved to the UK in 2017 and I didn't really have a music career prior to moving here. I moved here because uni and learn how to do like music business and learn how to kind of just like produce my own music and all that kind of stuff. So um, when I was in uni, I was like, right, okay, how can I maximize my experience here? Because I was only on a 1 year visa at the time.
Okay.
So being on the 1 year visa, I was like, right, okay, I only have like this 1 year to try to make it or try to get onto the degree program at my uni. Now, in my head, I thought, right, I don't want to just be in uni like for 4 years and like do nothing. So in the middle of my first year being here, like while I was learning how to produce music and like trying to put myself out there and like learning about social media and all this stuff, I applied to this program called Lymph Academy. So Lymph Academy is an artist development program in Liverpool, and it's run by the Liverpool International Music Festival. So I was selected to be one of the top 3 artists for the 2018-2019 cohort, and it really changed my life. Like being on that program, it took me from literally being no one and being nothing to like basically just shooting me into the music industry, getting me in front of people that I needed to be in front of, and just like giving me the network that I needed to grow and like go move forward in my music career. Um, so
So that
yeah, like Lymph
changed for
Academy.
you then. Sorry, that
Sorry.
was really the change for you then, going through that program. That was like the big change in your career.
Yeah, yeah. So because I had never really like had a band or played live, really, like people had never really played my music that I've written, but I've written music for a long, long time. But I just didn't know, like I didn't have the resources to like get people together. And I feel like as a woman and as a Black and Japanese woman as well, getting those opportunities in the music industry isn't as easy as it is for other people, white people. So I felt like I didn't have that type of opportunity when I was growing up. So to come here and be like embraced by Lymph and like just helping me, pushing me, and just like really validating me as well, like that was a really important part. Like I didn't feel like my music was good enough until I was in that top 3 program where like 1,000+ people had applied and I was chosen. So that to me was like, right, okay, I am good enough. Obviously, I should have had that confidence in myself to just know that. But it's hard when you're young and you're like just trying to make it and you don't know like if it's good because no one's ever told you really, or you just only have your friends and family telling you that you're good and stuff. So yeah, Lymph Academy was definitely the big like change in my career for me.
Okay. And I just want to touch on something because you mentioned being a mixed woman, Black and Japanese. So how have you found it coming from America where, there's a lot going on all the time in America and race is kind of like a big thing.
Mm.
How did you feel transitioning to the UK? Did you experience any racism? Um, or do you feel like it's more like mixed people and Black people are more accepted here in the UK? Do you think the racism is a bit lighter? How would you compare it if you could make a comparison to the US?
Well, I think it's an interesting question because I feel like I get asked about this a lot.
Mhm.
And racism, I feel like, is the same here than it is in America, because the only difference that I see is that it's covered in the media a lot more in America rather than in the UK. There are things that I experience every single day that I've experienced my whole life, from just like random people on the street, or people that I meet that just like instantly try to touch my hair, or like those small little things. It's like it's universal, for all people of color. So it's been an interesting journey. Like when I lived in Liverpool, I live in Manchester now. When I lived in Liverpool, I felt like I never saw any Black people unless I was in Toxteth. And I was like, right, okay, like where are all the Black people here? So it was shocking to me to see that there was just like so many white people and no Black people. And I was just like, I don't know if this is for me. Like there's really not enough diversity. So that was definitely something that I had to like just take in and just like adapt to that sort of change, because where I'm from, it is like really diverse. I mean, it's not like super diverse, but there's definitely more Black people like where I'm from, and I'm just used to like having that. Whereas like the uni that I went to is like predominantly white people. I think only like 1 or 2% of the students are students of color, so that's like Black or non-white. So that was really shocking as well, and just like trying to find where I fit in that uni was really hard as well. And that's why I ended up leaving anyways, because I thought, well, I don't need to do a degree here. Like I can just go off and do my own thing, especially because I was on lymph. So
And what uni was that? Was that University of Liverpool or?
it was LIPA. So
Okay, so the Performing Arts University.
yeah, yeah.
Which one? Yeah. So where are you from? Because you mentioned where you're from in America, it's very diverse. So can you give us a little bit of background about that, like where you're from in the US and
Yeah, so it's not like the most diverse place ever, but I'm from upstate New York. So not like New York City, but where I'm from, there is more just like diversity in general. But I think like America is just because there's so many people, there's a bigger like opportunity for more diversity, I guess. Whereas
yeah.
like in the UK, the population is really, really small. But yeah, I'm from a place called Troy. It's very, very small city, nothing really going on there.
Okay. Do you miss it or are you happy being here? Do you feel like you've made the UK your home now where you're not really homesick or thinking, oh, I want to go back to the US?
No, I don't really miss America, but I miss my family. It has definitely been really hard. Like when I first moved here, I was just ready to start a career and, go off by myself and do all these things. But now that I've been here for a few years, there's not that many opportunities for me to go back home. So I hope that in the future, like my career can allow me to travel to America more so that I can see my family. I just had a nephew that's been born like literally last week. So hopefully I can go back in the summertime to see my family, because I haven't seen them for 2 years, especially because of COVID. So yeah, it's hard to not like be able to see my family, but I definitely wouldn't trade it for anything else, because I feel like I've made a good start of my career in the UK.
And have you made connections? Like, have you found like, say, like a group of good friends that you can consider, people that will always be around for you and be a part of your life since moving here? Or are you still searching for that?
Yeah, I definitely have a good, solid group of friends. I've always been the kind of person that doesn't have, like a million friends, but I've got like maybe, 5 or 6 like really close friends. So I'm happy with the way that my friendships are going, because all of my friends are creatives as well. So we all can help each other do stuff. We all like can plug things to each other and just like, right, here's this opportunity, you can do this, or like we just work together. And it's been really cool. And I'm really glad that I have those type of friends, because I didn't have those kind of friends when I was growing up. Like friends that you make in school are just like people, they're just there and you go to class with them every single day, but maybe you don't like the same stuff.
Mm.
So like moving here and meeting so many people that are in the music industry and like photographers, videographers, like producers, all that kind of stuff has been really motivational for me, and inspirational as well, because I get to have those people around me every single day. So
Yeah, it's people you can relate to and a good support system, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to find out as well, how did you get involved with Culture Deck? Because that's kind of like how I discovered you and first heard your music, and I was just blown away. I was like, wow, like first of all, who is this girl? Where's she from? Like, because you know, just looking at you, it's like, okay, she's very different. Like you can tell, like this is not, it can't be a UK artist. Like I don't know what it is, but you just stand out a lot. So I'm just like, wow, like where's she from? She's so different. Her music, the sound, everything, like it's just capturing. Like when you first like just look into everything that you're doing. Like I remember seeing is it Dead Plants? And I was like,
Mm.
okay, this is crazy. Like I have to speak with this girl. And that was all through me just kind of like going through Culture Deck, because I've just come from Manchester to Liverpool,
Okay.
and I'm kind of like going through sort of like what you mentioned before, where I'm coming from a diverse city and area in Manchester, where coming to Liverpool there's not a lot of black people.
Yeah.
I'm West Indian, so I'm like, where's all the Caribbean people?
Yeah.
Where's all the, you know what I mean? So finding Culture Deck and finding, you know, there are creatives here and there's black people, there's mixed people, and then coming across you like as a woman, I'm like, okay, I need to know what her story is, what she's doing now. Is she still going? Like, let me dive in and meet this girl, because this is like a great opportunity. So I just really wanted to know, how did you get involved with Culture Deck? What's your experience been with them? Are you still involved with them? Are you working on anything with them in the near future that you could tell us about?
Yeah, so I actually don't remember like what was my first kind of like introduction to them. Um but I think I had just known about them like as a group. So the guy who runs it's called Aaron. So I think like I had just maybe met Aaron somewhere, or like I was on a show and he was maybe doing something for the show, I think is how we met. And he was like, yeah, right, you know, I do this thing called Culture Day, whatever, like we'd love to kind of like collaborate with you. So I don't think, yeah, I mean, I have performed for them before, obviously, because I have videos on their page. But I think the first kind of collaborative thing that we worked on together was they were putting on a live show. It must have been like in 2019, obviously. So
Okay.
in 2019, they were putting on a live show and I was presenting the show. So I was just coming on, introducing all the artists. Because as well as being a musician, like I'm also a radio presenter. So I really enjoy like that side of it as well, because it takes the pressure off of me of like having to sing, where I can just like be myself and not have to show my like singing talents, but I can show my other kind of like talents, you know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
did that. And then there was another project that they had going on, which we ended up filming the project, but I don't know if they're ever going to put it out or what has happened with it. But it had like Jasmine Johnson and Tabitha Jade and Subblue, those artists on there. And it was a really cool project, but I don't know what happened to it. Sometimes that just happens like in the industry. You film something and then it just never comes out. Um, and then just recently, they were doing a collaboration with, I guess they're like an organization called On the Record. On the Record is an organization that is trying to push um, Black and minority people, like in the industry, like creative industry, pushing them forward, giving them more opportunities. I think they do like a festival, but last year was the first one that they were doing like digitally. So I went and recorded a live session for Culture Deck. That was really fun. I really liked that video as well, and like did an interview. So yeah, that's kind of just like how we're involved, really. I think they do a lot, like they've been around for a long time. And I know that there's not there's not really a big platform in Liverpool for music that is predominantly made by Black people. So like rap, grime, R&B, you know, like that kind of stuff. There's not really a big community for it, but I feel like Culture Deck is like at the center of that. So it's
Yeah,
good.
I think that's why I was very excited to find out about them, because in the UK for Black artists, it's always been the city of London, where if you want to make it as an artist, if you want to get into the media, that's where you have to go to pop off.
Yeah.
Like all the other little surrounding cities, Manchester, the Midlands, Liverpool, you're not really gonna have that buzz or get that recognition that you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really interesting to see so many people of color working with them, and so many women as well, because it's been hard for women in the industry. And I feel
Yeah.
like now is the time where women are being more accepted. Do you
Hmm.
feel that way as well? Do you feel as a woman there's more opportunities now out there for you to get into the industry, and people are more accepting of your music and your career and taking you seriously? Or do you,
Well, sorry.
sorry, or do you feel like, it's still, there's still a long way to go and not much has changed from in the past?
Um, I feel a bit in between because I think there are opportunities out there, but I feel like just recently, a lot of people have been trying to push female acts. And I've had this discussion so many times, like Black women in the music industry are often only labeled as being R&B or being hip hop, and like that's it. There can't be any Black women that do other genres.
Yeah.
And it's really frustrating to me because when I first started doing music, yeah, granted, a lot of the music that I was doing was like alternative R&B, neo soul, like kind of thing. But that's not all of who I am as an artist. And I felt like when I was in Liverpool that I couldn't really branch out from that sound, even though a lot of the music that I make is not really that like neo soul kind of music.
Mhm.
Um, so that was hard, and that's why I wanted to move to Manchester, because I feel like there's more of a diverse music scene here rather than in Liverpool. Like, we had artists like IMDb that came from Manchester, and she had so many different sounds and continues to just have so many different sounds that I really truly love. So not saying like my music is anything like hers, because it's not, but I just think that that is something that's good that like comes out of Manchester. um as far as being a woman in the industry and like getting opportunities, I think like I'm just here at the right time, because now everyone is like, all right, like the trendy thing is to try to get a woman onto something, or try to get like a Black person into this, and you know what I mean. So I can't really speak about how the industry is in America or my past experience, really, because I've only had experiences in the music industry here. I never had a music career in America, so I don't really know like what it's like. So I just think I've just fallen into this time that is good for me, I guess.
And that's quite, interesting that you've never had experience in America, because a lot of people here in the UK feel like if they were in America, there'd be more opportunities for them, especially, Black people. They feel like the UK industry doesn't really support the artists that they have here.
Hmm.
Although right now, there's it's taking off, like Afro beats, grime, drill music, all these different genres that have been around for a very long time, like from when I was a child just listening to them.
Yeah.
They're starting to really take off, and I feel like the Americans are really picking up on our types of music and saying, oh, we like that sound and we want to
Hmm.
tap into that sound. So it is a really interesting time. And you being from America and coming here, it's really interesting to hear that you've only ever had an experience here in the music industry. So that is really nice.
Well, I think a lot of people don't understand, right? Because people think, oh, if I go to America, there's going to be more opportunities because it's bigger, and there's more like labels there and all this stuff. But that's not really how it is, because you need to have so many more connections just to get something so small. Like a lot of my friends in America that do music are not, as accomplished as me. And I'm not saying that because like I'm better than them. I'm saying that because there's more opportunities here. In America, there's not things like Lymph Academy where you can get funding for your music and people like literally take you from nothing to something. You know what I mean? There's like it just doesn't exist. There's no funding, there's no grants, there's no like none of that. So if you don't come from a background that already has money, or you have family that's already in the industry, then there's not really that many opportunities for you, unfortunately. um
So it's
but I
kind
think a
of
lot,
who you know sort of
yeah.
situation there.
But when you look at a lot of American artists as well, a lot of them are related to people that are famous anyways. So it's not like, you know, people are just actually getting picked up out the street. Like, it's because they have so many different connections and know so many people. So to be honest, I think it's better to start a career here because the country's so small that you can know so many people in London, like, you know. But I'm from upstate New York, but I wouldn't know like so many artists and stuff like in New York City. I don't know any artists in New York City, and I'm from upstate New York. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not the same. But I think actually being here is better. And I know that's a controversial like thing, but I'm saying this as someone who's American, and like we don't
But you
even
can
have.
say it because you've had the experience. So that's why I'm very happy that you're saying it, because you've had the experience. You can say it because there's so many artists here in the UK that have never been to America and don't know the American industry, but would say to you they'd do better in America. But how would you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think people are just blagging it when they say that because it's
Yeah.
like you wouldn't know. You know what I mean? Because like while I never really had a career in America, like obviously I grew up there. I have loads of friends that are artists and like they're not making it. They're not making money. Not like how I make money here, where it's like there's just so many more opportunities, and I feel like people would just take that for granted. Also, we don't have PRS, so any type of like, you know, royalties and opportunities to play. We don't even have BBC. Like, you can't use the BBC uploader in America. That's not a thing. You won't get national radio play by just, you know, on a whim. You know what I mean? Because on the BBC uploader, sometimes you could upload something and the next day or the next week it will be on One Extra. There's nothing like that in America. And I don't think people from the UK understand that. So that's why I always tried to preach to people. Is like, listen, like there's a better chance for you here than for you to be in America and be broke and not like do anything.
Yeah, I think the UK artists need to kind of, well, I think some of them are starting to appreciate what we have here, but I
Mm-hmm.
think for so long, it's always been a mindset of, oh, you have to go to America to make it. Oh, if the Americans don't
No.
accept you, you're not going to be anything, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think here as well, for a long time, the music industry was mainly, you know, white pop music, rock and roll music.
Yeah.
If you weren't doing that, then that's it. They don't want to hear from you. Whereas now
Yeah.
doors are opening, they're showing that, you know, Afro beats can sell, drill music can sell, every different genre can sell, and everybody can make money and be happy and live a good life. So
Yeah.
it's really nice to have a conversation with you who've come from America, you're making your career, and you're saying, you know what? Listen, appreciate what you've got here.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, like so many of my friends want to come to the UK as well because they all see like how good I'm doing for myself. And I'm not saying it's easy because it is really hard,
Yeah.
but also sometimes I feel like I've had the upper hand on some artists that are from the UK because I'm American. You know, people see me and see my story and they're like, right, like what's up with this girl? Why is she here? So that automatically like gets me, you know, in over some other people.
Yeah, it
Um,
stands out. Your story really stands out.
yeah, so I think, you know, that wasn't something that I did on purpose, but that's like my unique selling point, you know.
Yeah,
um
exactly.
but yeah, I literally always tell people, I'm like, listen, like don't try to go to America. There's nothing there. Like this girl that I used to work with, she was producing some of my music, we were co-producing it together. She was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to LA, I'm gonna move out there and like do all this. And I'm like, listen, first of all, it's mad expensive there. Like it's like living in London times two. Like it's so expensive. And also, you have to pay for your own healthcare. Don't break your arm because it'll cost you like $5,000.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not greener on the other side like everybody thinks it is. Like there's a lot of problems. Also, gun violence is huge in America, and I'm actually really happy to be in a country where there's not where the police don't use guns, you know. So even though obviously the police are the police, but I feel like it's safer here rather than being in America where like literally people get shot every single day. So
I'd be very anxious and scared to live in
Yeah,
America.
you'd be on edge every day.
Yeah, I'm not even going to lie. Like in the past, growing up, yeah, I saw America as like, yes, this great country. I want to go. I want to live there. And after
Hmm.
in 2 times, I was like, nope, no,
No.
no way, I can't do this.
And the country is so divided now as well, like because of Trump. And like I'm glad that he's out of office, but in that 4 years, like I feel like it's just spiraled down like really fast. And you can obviously tell how there's racists that are just like blatantly racist and fine with being that way. And obviously that's not all right. But also I think that the UK government has kind of turned to Trump and said like, right, okay, like we are kind of, we want to follow like in Trump's footsteps, which I don't really understand. Obviously there's problems with the UK government, there's problems with every government ever in the whole world. So
Here
there's
in
a lot of,
the party that we have in like the Conservative Party has never really had as much power as they have right now.
yeah,
So it's like the Conservatives are going wild because with Brexit and everything that's been happening here, our country's upside down. Like we've never been
no,
in this position before. It's new for everybody. So
I
yeah.
know. Trust me, like even recently I've been in conversation with a record label in Manchester, and we were talking about like what I would do, you know, or we are just talking about like touring and stuff. And I was saying, right, like I have kind of the upper hand here because I don't need a visa to tour in Europe. Because of my I have Japanese citizenship, so the Japanese passport is like the strongest passport in the world. So it in that way, I have that sort of privilege, but like, you know, they're really worried about their UK artists who can't actually go to play in Europe unless they pay a certain fee, can't go to America because they have to pay all these fees just to get an artist visa. And like, luckily enough for me, I don't need that. But you know, it the way that the world is going right now and the way that Brexit has really like hurt a lot of musicians and their future careers is not okay. So, you know, we need to sort it out.
Yeah, it's a huge divide now and it's not helping anybody. It's very sad.
Yeah.
You talked about your Japanese citizenship. Have you lived in Japan or is that just something that you applied for your
My mom is from Japan. So, yeah, so when I was born, like me, my brother, and my sister all have dual citizenship. It's not something that you can easily get. It's not like when you live in the UK and you've lived here for like a certain amount of years, you can like apply for citizenship. Like
yeah.
in Japan, you have to be born Japanese. You can't just like be from another country and like get citizenship. It's weird. It's very, very strict there. Um, but yeah, so luckily enough for me, you know, my mom was smart enough to be like, right, okay, I'm gonna get you guys your dual citizenship. So, and actually, if I never had that, I wouldn't have been able to come back after I was in uni, because I didn't have a job and because my student visa had run out. It was only for a year long. I had to get a different type of visa. And the visa that I ended up getting on was called the Youth Mobility Scheme visa. And that visa is only for people from like 6 or 7 different countries. And one of the
Heard
countries
of
was
it?
Japan. Yeah, yeah. It's a very rare visa because not very many people get it. Like you can only be from like Korea, China, Japan, New Zealand, Canada, and like one other place. So it's very random because it's only 6 countries out of like how many countries are there in the world? You know what I mean? So it was just like it was just like a lucky draw for me, I guess. So yeah, yeah. It's been a lot of luck for me.
Have you been to Japan? And if you have, what was your experience there like? Did you enjoy it? Would you go back? Would you live there?
Yeah, so my brother actually lives in Japan now.
Oh, okay.
Because his girlfriend is there. They were kind of like long distance for a while, and now he lives there. So I do want to go back. I've The last time I went was in 2012, so like almost 10 years ago. Um, and yeah, like Japan is so it's really cool, but also it can be really problematic because of the way that people are there. So when I was growing up, like there was a lot of discussion about like if half Japanese people are actually Japanese, which is, you know, but I get the same thing from Black people as well. Because I'm only half Black, I'm not actually Black. But then because I'm half Japanese, I'm not actually Japanese. But it's like, but I am Black and I am Japanese as well. And I can be both things, and nobody can tell me no, because that's my experience of growing up. You know what I mean? And anyways, like, I'm half Black. The world sees me as being Black anyways. Even if I was half white, people wouldn't look at me as a white person, would they?
No.
So, you know what I mean? It's like, I can claim both of those things because that is my heritage. That's how I grew up. Like, and I'm not going to let anyone else tell me that, you know, I'm something else, because it's just beyond me. And it like really divides people as well. Like, if you're saying, you know, like, that's like somebody being Nigerian and Ghanaian, and like Nigerian people being like, no, you're not Nigerian. Like, nobody, that's not a conversation that will happen. You know what I mean? So it was really frustrating to me when I was growing up, because I felt like I had a hard time trying to identify myself and like accept my identity. So in Japan, in that way, it can be really racist. So that's really hard to accept sometimes, especially when it's like, right, that's where I'm from, and that's how those people are. But yeah, I mean, I've got it from both sides literally my whole life, so it's just something that I've had to just accept and move on. But Japan is so cool. Food is amazing. So many like amazing things to see there. Tokyo is just incredible. There's nowhere else in the world like it, but obviously every place has its own issues.
Yeah. Okay. The next question I wanted to ask you, who inspires you musically? Because your sound is very different in your music. So who are your inspirations?
It's interesting because I have more music coming out later this year. And I feel like my sound is changing a lot. And especially like over lockdown, I've been able to just produce by myself. And a lot of the music that I make is just like my production. Even when I was co-producing with this other girl, you know, it was mostly my ideas, and she was just helping me like bring them to life. So when I was growing up, I listened to a lot of D'Angelo, Erica Badu. Lauryn Hill was like literally my icon, like my whole life. I loved Amy Winehouse. I loved Adele. That though they were like the artists that I was like, right, I want to move to the UK because of like Amy Winehouse and Adele, you know what I mean? And I loved Leanne LaHavis as well.
Okay, some legend.
And yeah, and Natasha Bedingfield, like, and you know how she has that remix like on TikTok, and it just goes hard though. But yeah, so I listened to a lot of that music, but I listened to a lot of pop music when I was growing up as well. Like the first album that I ever bought with like my own money, which was just like $5 that my mom gave to me, was the Oops, I Did It Again Britney Spears CD. That was like the first CD that I ever bought, that I chose. And I ragged it. Like I loved it so much. I remember when I was in school, like we were having a class party and the teacher said that we could bring our own music. So I brought my Britney Spears CD, and me and like all these other girls in my class were just like dancing around the room like, oops, I did it again. I loved it though. I loved it. And like I loved Avril Lavigne and Maroon 5, and I just had a very eclectic taste in music like I do today. Like I used to rag classical music. Like I used to love Yo-Yo Ma when I was younger as well. And my parents hated it. Like I'd be blasting classical music and my parents are like, why are you listening to this?
What is this?
Literally, like my mom was like, you're so weird. Like, why do you have so many different like tastes in music? But I think that that's helped me like discover my own sound, because like, you know, today in grime. So as a radio presenter, I get sent a lot of music, and a lot of it is grime. And I think a lot of it sounds the same. And when I hear bars that I like, you know, I might not reply to most of the emails, but when I hear music that I like or bars that I like email them back and I say, listen, this is really good, but maybe you should like work on trying to get your own sound, finding music that is, you know, a bit different than the just like normal grime beats, because like how much of grime sounds the same, like a lot of it. And it's really frustrating because I think like the next generation of musical artists are just focused on social media and like TikTok and stuff. And they just want like that one thing that's going to blow them up. But realistically, being a one-hit wonder is not going to give you a longevity in your music career. And I don't think a lot of like kids that are doing music understand that. But yeah, like when I was growing up, I had loads of different musical influences. So I tried to put all of that into my music. And more recently, like I really love artists like Tyler the Creator. Like if I could say that I was most like anyone or wanted my career to be most like anyone, I would want it to be like Tyler the Creator, minus the homophobia and sexism. But obviously that was like when he was really young.
I
And I
love the
was
way
watching.
he carved his own lane. Like,
Yeah,
really is different and stands out. And he's just said, you know what, this is who I am. This is who I'm going to be. And it's worked for him. He's
yeah.
proof that it can work.
Yeah, exactly. And like when I was younger, and I saw him like making his way in the music industry and obviously having like an amazing team around him that like helps him bring his vision to life. I just thought like, yeah, that's what I want for myself. There's no like female acts out there that are like that are very like individual and do their own thing in that way. Like the only woman I know that's been in the music industry that has like been so individual and like no one else is Missy Elliott. And but even still, she doesn't get like
She doesn't
what
get
she
the
deserves.
flowers and the props, does
Yeah,
she?
exactly. Yeah,
How
she
much she
doesn't get her
wants.
flowers enough. Yeah. And she is such an incredible artist and like she's so unique and so different. And I just feel like, there needs to be more women representation for like the weird people, like the unique people, that are not like everyone else. I don't want to be like everyone else either, because like my whole life I was always told that I was weird, that I was different than everyone else. And I always felt different than everyone else as well. I didn't really have like a defined style. I was quite nerdy, quite like just to myself and not really, I wasn't that person that everybody liked. Either people liked me for being weird or people just didn't like me because they didn't understand me. Um, and I think that that's given me a lot of inspiration to move forward, because I want to show younger people that like this is who I am and I can be mad weird and it could still work for me. You know what I mean? You don't have to be, crazy, sexy, cool, whatever. Like you don't have to do that to make it.
Being yourself is enough. I think, how do you feel about Doja Cat? Because I feel like she, as an artist, is coming out and she's kind of like carving her own lane, being a female rapper, but also doing different genres of music and not being a stereotypical, I'm gonna put it all on show and
Mm-hmm.
artist. How do you feel about her and her type of music and style?
I really think that Doja Cat has such a I feel like she used to have a very unique aesthetic and style, but now she's very commercial, I think. There's nothing wrong with just chasing a bag and like securing the bag. Like, look at Cardi B, you know what I mean? Like everybody loves Cardi B. She's known worldwide, like, so that's cool. But Doja Cat, I feel like can be a bit problematic at times. And I definitely don't want to be that, because I feel like a lot of the time in the music industry, light skinned women get bad representation. And I feel like Doja Cat kind of like contributes to that. So yeah, I mean, I think she's kind of a sellout, to be honest. I think she's kind of a sellout.
Okay. All right, we'll leave that there. Because I have a few views on that too. I agree somewhat with that. So yeah. um, I was watching one of your videos and you talked about science and how that was something that you were into. Are you still passionate about science? Do you think you'd ever go into a career in science later on in the future?
Imagine. Um, well, when I was younger, I really was super passionate about I guess like world issues.
Yeah.
So I don't know. My dad was like, right, like we're gonna watch this movie, and the movie is called Blood Diamond. I don't know if you've ever watched
Oh
it.
yeah, I've seen that.
Right. So I really liked that movie. I felt like, wow, the story, not that I liked it, but I thought the story was so like touching. And I was like, right, okay, like this is something that I didn't even know like happens in the world. And like from that point, I was probably like 12 or 10. So from that point, I was like, right, like I want to do something to like make the world a better place. You know, classic like kid who's like, oh right, like I can change the world. Um, and because I couldn't go to uni for music the first time, I started studying science because I wanted to go and do the Peace Corps, which is like, I don't think that you guys don't really like do it from here, but in America, you can apply for this program called Peace Corps, and you have to have already had like a bachelor's degree though, so a 4-year degree.
Okay.
And I wanted to do sustainability for like basically I wanted to go to underprivileged places and underdeveloped places and help them get a sustainable water source, because I know that's a problem for a lot of places where they don't have clean water to drink.
Mm-hmm.
But even in America, low key, like that's a problem as well. So when I was younger, that's what I wanted to do, because I thought, well, my mom will never like, I just thought me and my mom would always have beef if I did music, you know, but we don't now. Like, but when I was younger, we did a lot.
Okay.
So I kind of was like, right, because my mom is Japanese, like it's a very common thing for Asian parents to want their children to be doctors, lawyers, like, you know, that kind of thing. And I was like, right, okay. The same with like African parents. African parents are like, listen, you're about to be a doctor.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of pressure. And, you know, I've always been really artistic, always really like musical and stuff. But my mom was just like, that's not a job. So yeah, I just thought, right, I'll go to school of science, I'll get my 4-year degree, I'll go to the Peace Corps for 3 years, and I'll go to like some country in Africa and do this job, you know. But that's obviously not what I did because I actually hated uni. Like when I when I went and my course was in environmental science, like I could not bear it at all. I actually was like, right, I actually don't fit in here. I don't belong here. So I quit uni and I still went to do this volunteer program, but it's not Peace Corps, it's called AmeriCorps. So like you only stay in America. You go to all different places and like we did many different projects. Like we would build wheelchair ramps for people that couldn't afford them. So like in America, if you're in a wheelchair, like it's really, really expensive to get a ramp put on the front of your house, like more than $10,000. So we would go and like build these ramps for people, like do it in like 2 days. We built a trail, like a walking trail that was like a 1/4 mile long. I was technically a wildland firefighter when I was in this program as well, because like we would do this thing that's called a controlled burn.
Okay.
So a controlled burn is when you take an area that has what is it called? Like invasive species. So invasive species that are in that area obviously are not contributing positively to the environment. So we'd go in and we literally light the whole thing on fire so that the natural plants and stuff from that area could grow. So we did that, and that was a lot. That was really hard work, like really, really hard. And like we refurbished a house and did loads of other stuff. So I really enjoyed that, and I've always really liked like helping other people and like doing that kind of stuff. But obviously,
what would you say 3 things that program has taught you? Like, because you sound like you've done so much and very life-changing experiences. What 3 things have you learned from that experience that stay with you or have stayed with you, should I say?
Yeah. I learned a lot about who I am when I was there. But one of the things was that I need to just be honest with myself and with other people. I think I'm a people pleaser, and I'm a chronic people pleaser, and I really have tried to work on myself in that way of like not always trying to make everyone else feel good, because essentially that doesn't really make me feel good, you know. And who's going to make me feel good if I can't even do that for myself? So that was one thing, is just like be honest with other people and be honest with myself, because I ended up like being in a relationship while I was in that program, and it continued afterwards as well. um and I just feel like during the whole relationship I really wasn't honest about like who I was, what I wanted to do with my life, and like I just really focused on him and like making sure that like he was good and everything that he wanted to do, like we would do that, you know what I mean? And I didn't feel happy in myself doing that. So that was one thing. And like I also learned how to live a more minimal lifestyle. Now that was years ago, that literally I did that program in like 2015. So now I wouldn't say that I'm a minimalist because I have loads of clothes. But in that program, you're only allowed to have like 5 shirts, 5 pants, like 2 pairs of shoes. So it was like super, super minimal. And I learned that I could live like that. And before, I had so much stuff and my life was so cluttered. And I had a problem with not being able to throw things away or like letting go of things. So that was like really, really good. And then also I learned like how to like live with people that or be with people that I've never met before. So that program was 10 months long. And for 9 of the months, I had to live with 10 people that I never met. So I know, think about it, just taking random people like off the street. And you'd think that everybody was like me, everybody wanted to like change the world, do something good. But some people came from a different program where basically they were forced to go into AmeriCorps, or like basically they would go to jail. So some people were not, you know, kind-hearted like individuals, like they were only there because they had to be there. Whereas like me, I was like, right, okay, like I want to do this because I want to make a positive like change. um so that was like a realization that I had, that not everybody's like me and I can't treat everybody the same way either. Like everybody needs to be treated differently, you know, kind of in accordance with who they are as a person.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That sounds like something that would really just change your life forever. The
Yeah,
whole
it did really, it did really.
wow. Like I'm just stunned to hear about how much you've been through. You've had a very interesting life. Like there's so
It's been a
much.
lot. It's been a lot. Trust me. Like every time this, so the girl that I used to work with, who was my co-producer, she literally like wouldn't believe me. When I first met her, she would be like, "You're lying." And I'm like, "No, literally, I'd show her photos and all this of like stuff that I've done. She'd be like, "How have you done so much stuff?" And I'm like, literally, I'm just random like that. Like if I see an opportunity, I'll just take it. Like, how do you think I ended up in the UK? You know what I mean? Like I just had the opportunity to go to uni. So I was like, right, I'm just gonna go. And then I ended up just staying here. And like obviously that was the best choice for me. But I've always been like that. Like I've always been quite impulsive with my decisions, but I like doing things that other people don't do.
Yeah, you seem very fearless as well. Like you're not gonna let a fear of, oh, what's gonna happen, what if, hold you back. You're just gonna jump in if you've given the opportunity. And that's a great attitude to have towards things, because so many people, they let the fear hold them back and don't do
Yeah.
what they really love. And I just feel like I want to do a documentary on you or something. Like, this girl's life is so interesting. Like I could put on a 5-part series and it would be so amazing.
No, literally, like I've always said, like I've done so much in my life that actually like I will need some sort of documentary at some point, because I don't think like people and I try not to give such like a long story about myself all the time. Like when I first meet people, obviously like it's fine for today because we're doing an interview, but
Yeah.
like when I meet people in real life, I kind of just like downplay it because I'm like, I don't want this person to feel like I'm crazy because I'm doing so much stuff. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I just want people to like think that I'm not normal, but like I just feel like my journey has been really, really long. So I tried to just be like, yeah, like just moved here, you know, did this, did that, and like here we are.
Trust me, if you're ever looking for a videographer, filmmaker, just hit me up.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
I'm in training, but I'm just so excited to work on this because I'm just like, I need like 2 more interviews with you or something because this is amazing. Like I've never met anyone like this before.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Honestly, like I'm really glad that you find my story interesting because it's weird like when you live that reality and you kind of just think like, right, okay, obviously this is normal for me because it's my life. And
Yeah.
then when other people are like, "Oh, that's cool." And you're like, "Oh, okay. All right." Like
Yeah.
that, yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
It's kind of like it doesn't really seem like as much to you, but then when other people hear it's like, oh wow.
Yeah, exactly. Like even every day, obviously, like I wake up and I'm like, right, okay, like I live in England. But it's like even though I've been here for 4 years nearly, it
Mhm.
still hasn't sunk in completely, you know. It's kind of just like, all right, like I get up, you know, do what I have to do every single day. But every now and again, I do have that moment of like, girl, you really did that though. Like you really moved to a whole other country, like made a career for yourself in a whole other country. Like, let's go.
You should be proud of yourself, like picking up and going from another country to somewhere else. Like, what? Who
Oh
does
no,
that? Like, there's not a
it's
lot of people
hard.
that do it.
Trust me, I had like I after like the after about like 6 months of being here,
Mhm.
I started freaking out because I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Like I've left my whole family, I've left my whole life that I had before, literally to come to a different country where I don't know anyone. Like I moved to England and I literally did not know anybody. Like I knew one person that lived in Coventry, like, and I wasn't even in Coventry. So um yeah, it was definitely really hard, and I actually would not recommend it to most people because it's hard. And like to not have your family there and like you feel mad distant from them, and I really struggled like feeling really distant from my family for a long time, but we all kind of speak every day now. But before it was like I just felt like so by myself and just like so alone, and going to all white uni didn't help me either because there was so I just feel like a lot of people didn't try to like include me and stuff, or I
Mm.
always felt like I was excluded from things. And like when I was in uni, I wanted this boy to be in my band, and we had like a rehearsal together. And he told me that my music was boring, and I was shattered. I was heartbroken. I went home and I just cried for like 2 hours because I was like, "What have I done? Like, why have I even moved here? You know, like if that's how people are gonna see my music and think about my music and stuff." Um, but obviously like my mind has changed about myself since then. But yeah, it's definitely hard. It's not for the weak of heart.
Do you feel like if you would have came here and went to a different city, like say if you went to London or if you went to a uni in Manchester, your experience would be a bit different because London is very diverse and
Mhm.
Manchester's quite diverse. I mean, Manchester doesn't really have a university like LIPA, but there
Yeah,
are music,
yeah,
universities.
yeah, because there's BIM here, isn't there?
Yeah. So do you feel like your experience might have been a bit better in a different city?
Yeah, I do think that, but then I kind of think like, right, well, if I never moved to Liverpool, I would
Mhm.
have never been in Lymph Academy. And if I was never in Lymph Academy, what would I be doing right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like having my mentor at the time, so he's called Yao Owusu. So having Yao be my mentor was like it really was life changing for me. So I wouldn't change my experience, but I do think that it would be a lot different if I went to a different city. But it's weird because like I feel like I know so much more about how to navigate the UK, but now that I've been here for a while. But like before I came here, I had no idea about like different cities, what they were like, what people might be like there. So I literally was just guessing. Like I didn't know the difference between Manchester and Liverpool to Leeds to Birmingham. All of it was the same to
Yeah.
me. I was
Most
just like,
people
either
don't.
it's London or nothing, you know? So, and I didn't want to go to London because I knew it was going to be really hard for me to like find a job and like find somewhere to live. And like my parents don't really help me out with that much money. So it was like, you know, I still have to work and I still have to like do this. Like when I was in uni, I was the only one of my friends that worked. Like everyone else had money from their parents, and that's just like how it is at LIPA. Like all of the students are rich. So, and they all have like family members that are in the music industry and all this stuff. And it's like, it was really frustrating because they were like, oh, we all want to go to Switzerland like over this next 2 weeks or whatever when we're on break. Like, do you want to come? And I'm like, I literally don't have any money to go or do anything with you guys. And it's like they would all have money to like go and do things, and I literally never did. And I just thought like, oh my God, it's so unfair. It's so unfair because like I have to work literally 10 times harder than everyone else just to get the same thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's actually paid off in the long run because I can like proudly say that I'm doing a lot better than most of the people that I went to uni with. So
the best revenge is your paper and your
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, listen, I be securing these bags, okay? I don't see any of y'all rich kids securing your own bags because you have a trust fund.
I've lost the question that I was just going to ask, you know.
Oh, it's okay.
I've really enjoyed this interview. Like, it's been so interesting, and so inspiring at the same time. That was it. Are you planning to do any upcoming festivals? Because I know, like, just last night and over the weekend, and yeah, over the weekend, Liverpool had their big festivals, the first festival with no social distancing or anything like that. So are
Mhm.
you planning to perform at any of the upcoming festivals in and around Liverpool, Manchester? Are you booked for anything that you're excited about or
Well, I'm sure a lot of things are going to start changing because I've actually got management now. So I'd never had a manager before.
okay.
So hopefully things will start changing with that kind of front because I'm terrible at like trying to email people and stuff. I have a few things booked. I'm like headlining this. So most of the stuff that I'm doing is either social distance or it's digital. I'm headlining this art school live festival in Manchester. That will be at the end of next month. And
Oh,
then, so June. And then in July, I have a headline show at 24 Kitchen Street in Liverpool. So you should come to that.
oh yeah.
Um, I'm not 100% positive about the day. I think it's the 22nd. I don't know. I'm so bad with that kind of stuff. And then I have
My out for it.
I got you. And then I think so that's June, and then July.
Yeah.
Nothing in August because I'm going to New York. And then at the end of September, I'll be I'm not sure if I'm headlining it or like what is the deal, but I'll be doing the Beto Lido social. That's really good. I don't know if you've heard of Beto Lido magazine, but like they've
No.
always been super supportive of me. They're like they do like an emerging musicians magazine like out of Liverpool. So you should check it out, like lots of artists and stuff that are in there. Really good. So Beto Lido social in September. And then October, I'm headlining this new festival in Liverpool called the Liverpool Music Ultimate Festival, I think it's called. And that'll be at Jimmy's, just at the top of Old Street. So
I know where
a
that is.
few things to come. I'm not trying to like pack my schedule with live shows because if I do too many live shows, people won't come. So just trying to do like once a month or once every like 6 weeks or something like that, just to see and get my foot in the water and like look out because I've got some more new music coming this year as well. So hopefully things will start really taking off.
Okay, well, it's been amazing interviewing you. I've kept you much longer than I said it would be.
Oh
So
my God, I know. We said 20 minutes in it.
yeah, I'm so sorry if you've got
That's okay.
lined up because I
No,
know
it's fine.
you must have like a busy schedule and a busy day. So the only things left to do, can you shout out, your radio show? Because I know you said you present, any upcoming projects that you want to shout out, your social media, yeah, and just any way that people can get in touch with you, Apple Music, Spotify. You can just
Cool.
shout them all out.
Yes, yes, I will. All right. So you guys, I have been IamKyami. You can find me on all social media platforms at IamKyami. That's IamKyami. You can find my music anywhere that you stream music. So that's Apple, Tidal, Spotify, all that good stuff. And yeah, I do a monthly residency on Pi Radio called the Selectors Edition, and I do a monthly residency on Melodic Distraction called Kickback Culture. What other bits am I doing? you can just follow me on the socials to just stay up to date with everything, because all of my stuff is always on there. Or you can sign up to my mailing list on my website at IamKyamiWorld.com. Thank you so much for having me today. You've been a lovely presenter as well. So I really appreciate your work.
It's been a pleasure having you. Oh, thank you so much.